Welcome into our 2021 UNA Volleyball season preview show. As we head to the fourth and final year of the Division I transition, UNA Volleyball heads into a new era of volleyball led by interim head coach Andrew Kroger. Coach Kroger comes to North Alabama with over 10 years of experience at the Division I level, and he'll inherit a roster that features 10 returnees from a season ago to go with 7 newcomers. This team returns all 6 starters from last season, and actually there's no seniors on this year's team. This junior class features 6 players, 5 of which came in together as true freshmen just 3 seasons ago. 5 sophomores on the roster, including 4 that played as true freshmen back in the spring. In fact, it was actually 3 true freshmen that led the team in kills, assists, and digs, with Cameron Parsonage leading the team in kills, Kennedy Johnson in assist, and Katie Gehrig in digs. The 6 freshmen hail from Texas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, and Turkey. In this season preview show, we're going to chat with interim head coach Andrew Kroger. We'll have 2 special guests, 2 players stop by as well. Stick around after this break. We'll jump into it.
My whole life has been about making an impact. Not just on the field, but in the world around me. My high school Spanish teacher helped me find my true calling to educate and serve others all over the world. I used to think the biggest college was the best place to start, but my search brought me to North Alabama. At UNA, my story matters, and so does my calling.
We kick off this preview show with interim head coach Andrew Kroger. Coach Kroger, thanks for joining us. And you were named as interim head coach back on July 19th. I know it's been a whirlwind couple of weeks, but what has it been like getting to this point with the season starting here in just a couple of days?
Yeah, a whirlwind is the right way to describe it. I think that first week was I had my interview on Zoom on a Wednesday. I kind of accepted the job on a Thursday, and on Monday I was meeting the team. And all of that happened. I didn't have a chance to come to campus or anything, but I met a lot of really good people, and everything I could investigate about the school and about the athletic department, and everybody I met made it really obvious that this is a great place to be. So yeah, I had moved down here about a week later. That was a tricky process. It's not easy when you say, hey, I got to be somewhere tomorrow. Movers are a little weary to accept that. So I was down in a hotel for a few days, finally got my permanent housing figured out, and all of that while trying to figure out, okay, I also have a new group of athletes and I need to get to know them. And so, yeah, it's been busy. It was a relief to get back to a little bit more of the normal, and that's getting into the gym, getting to work. And so that's been the focus of the last 10 days. It's been great to get to know the team and start preparing for the season. And now we just got to take those next steps and those final preparations as we get ready for our first matches.
Let's talk about your background just a little bit. A great 3-year run at LaSalle before you came down south to North Alabama. But take us through your stops and some of the accomplishments and high points.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Cincinnati, but for the last decade I've been in the Philadelphia area. I made a stop at Villanova before spending the last 7 seasons at LaSalle. And it was an interesting period in that program's history as well. We took over a program that had been struggling a little bit, and in the course of the 7 years that I was there, first as an assistant, then as a head coach, we went from the bottom of the conference to a couple years in a row of finishing in the top 4, making the conference semifinals in a program that had never even qualified for the conference tournament. And so we had grown a lot. We had brought in the program's first ever top 100 recruiting class. And so it was a big improvement and a lot of fun, and I learned a lot in my time there. And I'm excited to see kind of the differences. Obviously, Philadelphia and Florence, I found, are a little bit different. And so I'm excited to kind of take the stuff that I learned in that experience, tweak it so that it fits what North Alabama is and what generally recruiting and coaching and all of that in the South is, and I'm really excited for this opportunity.
You're inheriting a team that has 10 returnees from a season ago, all 6 starters. Then you factor in the 7 newcomers, 6 freshmen, 1 JUCO transfer. What's it been like this preseason? We mentioned the whirlwind. Everybody getting on the same page, getting to know one another.
It's funny you listing off all of those classes. For me, it's like having a team of 17 freshmen. I mean, it's my first time in the gym with every one of these people, and so usually you get to like, okay, this 3/4 of the team, I know how their minds work, I know how to coach them, I know how they interact with each other. But this season, it's a new and exciting challenge because everybody's off to a fresh start. I didn't have any preconceived notions about who was going to be good, who needed to put extra work in. And so it's, like I said, it's different. It's not something I've done in a while because I was at the same school for 7 years. But it's fun. And I think the athletes also appreciate that kind of blank slate across the board. It's a challenge for every one of them because they may have been comfortable in a spot with the previous coach, and now everybody, whether it's their first day on campus as a freshman or their first day in the country as a freshman, or they're one of our returning upperclassmen, they're all on kind of equal footing and knowing systems and knowing me and knowing campus. So it's been a fun couple of weeks.
When we come back to the season preview show, we'll jump into the roster and talk about what's coming back for this volleyball team.
What is Coca-Cola? Is it an excuse to get together? Since 1886, Coca-Cola has been passing on smiles from generation to generation. We've been giving kids scholarships, like the early birds and the all-nighters. And you get to enjoy what matters most. Coca-Cola. Drink up.
We're talking UNA volleyball with UNA interim head coach Andrew Kroger. And Coach Kroger, let's take a dive into the roster. And for you, 17 players, 10 returnees from a season ago. First of all, you're new. It's new for everybody. How do you get to know the strengths of different players?
Yeah, so my first week, the day after I got introduced, again, I was still in Philadelphia, so it was all on Zoom. But my priority was getting to know everybody on our team on a personal level. So that first week, I spent time meeting and sitting down, Zooming with every player on the team, getting to know them a little bit. So I got a little bit of a feel for their personalities, kind of what their goals are with the team, all that good stuff. And then what I got on campus, probably more so than with a lot of teams I've had in the past, I kind of sat back and watched a little bit just to get a little bit of a feel for what their personalities are on the court, right? Because sometimes that's not always the same. So it took a lot of time to constantly be evaluating while working on, certainly we've only got about 2-3 weeks to get a lot of skill work in, develop systems and all of those things. But the extra challenge was I need to do that while taking time to learn about them. One of the cool things we've done this past week, and we're still kind of in the middle of it, we brought in a former volleyball coach and a former player who has been talking to us a lot about personality types, and so they all did some personality testing type stuff, and talking a lot about how people respond differently to feedback, how they respond differently to stressors that come about within volleyball. And so I think taking some extra time to focus on those things is not only helping me learn about each of those athletes and what kind of feedback and how best to interact with them, but I think their teammates are also getting a good sense for, oh, I thought this person whose mind worked differently than me was wrong, and it was a problem that it was that way, and just kind of learning that, oh, there's no good or bad to this, her mind just works a little bit differently. And so I think it's been really productive 2 weeks, and especially this last week or so, kind of with a focus on getting to know personalities.
Let's talk about the offense and what you expect to see. You returned several of the top hitters from a season ago, but what are the things you've seen from camp from some of the hitters?
Yeah, I think this group is very physical. It's one of the biggest and most physical front lines that I've had, and so I'm excited because that provides some extra options for what you're doing on offense. And so we return a couple, our middles last year were a bunch, Maggie Sullivan and A.K. Griggs. They did a great job last year. We're very efficient in the middle. But we also bring in some new athletes that provide some different looks. And so I'm really excited for the blend of there was some stuff that worked really well last year, and now there's some new pieces that are going to do nothing but kind of make that core even better. And so I'm really excited for our offense. I think we're going to do things a little bit differently than my systems are a little different than what they're used to. So they're getting used to that a little bit quicker. But it's been an exciting couple of weeks just figuring out, using all of those different tools to maximize what our offense can do.
Defensively, what have you seen from this team? I mean, you guys returned a lot of great back row players. This team was one of the top teams in terms of the net in blocks last year in the ASUN, but what have you seen from that side in camps?
Yeah, one of our kind of focuses and things we've talked about a lot is, you're right, we got a lot of blocks last season. And I think I kind of had challenged our back row floor defenders to match that and also be kind of getting those dig numbers towards the top of the conference. And so we have a couple experienced defenders returning. Katie Garrick did a great job in the libero role last year. And we bring some new bodies in as well that I think are going to compete and do a really good job back there. And we've also spent a big point of emphasis has been our first contact this whole preseason. So a lot of serve-receive work. We have the benefit of all of our outside hitters are attackers who are used to serve receiving and making that first contact. So that helps a lot, give us options when we're passing. And so, it's been the floor defense. Especially, we've even been working our middles in with a lot of our floor defense training, so that's new for them. And they've got a few bumps and bruises to show for their hard work, but they're getting after it, and they're getting better back there too. So that first contact and serve receive and a lot of floor defense work, we spent a lot of time on, because I think that is going to translate and be a big part in us getting some wins this fall.
Coach, coming up next, we're going to hear from two players, Maggie Sullivan and Katie Floyd. So Maggie, a junior, Katie, a freshman. Tell us a little about these two players and what we're going to see in the next two segments.
Yeah, Maggie, for entering her third season here with the program, I think has been a leader by example in many ways. She's very involved in the UNA community and in the athletics department as president of SAC. And on the court, I think her teammates look to her as a role model of how you need to work and get better at practice. And on top of that is an extremely caring and kind teammate that is always looking after her teammates' well-being. So I like talking about all of that stuff. She was also pretty good on the court for them last year as well. I think she was up there in kills, was one of the nominees for the preseason ASUN Defender of the Year for the preseason. And so I think her teammates are looking to her to kind of always be kind of a point of stability of what all is going on. So I'm really excited to have her back. Katie Floyd is a freshman who was able to graduate early from high school, and so she was able to train with the team in the spring. And I think there are a lot of advantages to that. Coming in as a freshman, there's just so much new going on. You're moving away from home for the first time. You're figuring out the level of college volleyball, and so there's a lot being thrown at you. She has the advantage of a lot of those things getting behind her in the spring. And so she's able to a little more just kind of focus on volleyball because the other stuff is more normal. She comes from a very volleyball-rich area in Louisville. And so her coming, and a volleyball family, she's got a sister that plays for Belmont that we'll see in our second weekend of play. So that'll be a fun Floyd versus Floyd matchup. But she just brings a level of competitiveness and aggression at the net that I think is going to be a very welcome addition that everybody got to see in the practice gym in the spring, and now we get to show off in our matches, and everybody else in the public will get to see.
Coming up next, we'll hear from these two UNA volleyball players.
It's bow time. This isn't just any chicken sandwich. It's the new Bo's Chicken Sandwich. We took our time perfecting this bold season hand-breaded certified Southern powerhouse. Pile that big league buttered milk crunch with crispy pickles and creamy mayo for a chicken sandwich so good.
Oh, this is so fucking good.
Nana will forget her table manners. Try the new Bo's Chicken Sandwich for $3.99. It's bow time.
Next up, we're chatting with Maggie Sullivan, a junior on the UNA volleyball program, originally from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Maggie, third year at North Alabama, you arrived back in 2019. How does it feel to finally be one of the upperclassmen veterans on this volleyball team?
It's very strange. I feel like I just got here, but I guess I got 2+ years under my belt, so I'm excited.
Played a lot as a true freshman. Last season as a junior, or sophomore rather, you finished second on the team in kills. So for you, freshman to sophomore year, what was the biggest improvement that you saw?
Oh, for sure. I feel like in a weird way, COVID kind of helped me develop physically. I just really set my mind on getting better, working out a lot. So yeah, that was strange how it worked out, but yeah.
Let's talk about last season a little more. What was it just like with all the uncertainty of the fall, finally getting to play in the spring?
It was crazy. I didn't like it at all. I like a plan and structure, so just to be going, without a plan was not enjoyable. But we made it happen in the spring. It was really busy, but I enjoyed every minute of it. I love volleyball, I love playing, I love my teammates, so it was a good experience overall.
Now, last year you led the team in blocks. I want to talk blocking with you. Take us inside the game. What does it take to be a strong player at the net like that?
Okay, so you have to have good anticipation skills. You have to be able to see where your hitters are coming from and what your setter looks like she's about to do. And then I like to say it's a guessing game. So I think she's going to the outside. I'm going to guess that way. And then if she doesn't, then you have to be good at changing directions and going by the fly. I don't know.
Any memorable blocks or even kills that you've had the last 2 years that jump out at you?
I think last year our only win was Lipscomb, and the first set we won of the year, it ended on a weird block, but that was how the set ended, and that was pretty cool.
Okay, so off the court, you're president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. Tell us a little bit about SAC and what you guys do.
So SAC is a group of athletes that vote on different regulations of the NCAA, and we also help the community around us. So UNA SAC is really community focused and really athletics focused, so we tried to build relationships between athletes, between teams, and also help the community around us. So soup kitchen, or last year we did Valentine's cards, and we sent them out to the hospitals and stuff. So just stuff like that, helping the community and building relationships.
Now, working with other programs, other teams that you might not get to spend a lot of time with, how cool is it being president of everyone like that?
A little nerve-wracking, but it's cool, yeah. Great honor. I'm really thankful for it.
All right, let's talk about your interim coach, Andrew Kroger. What's it been like since he took over just a few weeks ago?
It's been great. Practices are he's trying to develop players overall, so you have middles diving on the floor and you have liberos taking swings, so it's just everyone's developing as a volleyball player as a whole. Love that. We're also focusing on getting to know our teammates better and being able to analyze them on and off the court and just be a better team as a whole. So I'm really thankful to him, and it's been great.
So we head to year 3. What are your expectations for the team this year?
I expect some big things. I expect more wins. I expect better team chemistry and all of that. So really positive thinking on my part.
Let's talk academics before we let you go. An exercise science major. What is it you want to do with that degree?
I plan on going into physical therapy. I shadowed someone this summer and I really enjoyed it. I love seeing people progress from being broken and into just being better and building relationships as a whole. So,
Maggie, we're looking forward to the upcoming season. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
My whole life has been about making an impact. Not just on the field, but in the world around me. My high school Spanish teacher helped me find my true calling to educate and serve others all over the world. I used to think the biggest college was the best place to start, but my search brought me to North Alabama. At UNA, my story matters, and so does my calling.
Welcome back into the volleyball preseason show. We're getting to know a freshman on the UNA volleyball team and Katie Floyd from Louisville, Kentucky. Katie, thank you for taking the time to talk with us. And first of all, you sort of have an interesting story. You are a freshman on the roster, but you actually arrived on campus last spring. Were with the team for the spring season, but you could not play. So what was it like joining the team last spring out of high school after graduating in December?
Yeah, it was an awesome opportunity. I am so glad that I got to come here and meet all my teammates and just kind of get into classes. It was a lot coming in around COVID times and doing all that, but I think it was a great decision.
How did it help you in terms of getting ready to play this year?
Definitely chemistry with our team. I get to know everybody. I already know them, so I know different playing styles and how I kind of fit into the team.
Let's go back to growing up in Louisville, Kentucky. Strong volleyball up in Louisville, Kentucky, in that area, that region. What was your introduction to volleyball growing up?
When I was around 13, my sister played at our local church, and I saw her playing, and I was like, wow, that looks fun. So then I tried it out, and then the next year we found a local volleyball club, and we started to play there, and then just went on from there and loved the sport and grew with my sister in volleyball.
So at what point did you realize playing in college was something you could go do?
When I played, when I was around the 16s year, college coaches started contacting me, and my club coach at the time, his brother is a coach, a college coach, and definitely said that could be an opportunity for me in the future.
And what made you choose UNA?
UNA, definitely the indoor program is building on itself, and I love to be a part of that. And I think just the people here are so welcoming, and I love the campus. It's super nice.
Let's circle back to something you mentioned. Your sister Taylor plays at Belmont. She's heading into her senior year. So for you guys got to play 1 year together in high school. What was that one season like?
That season was amazing. It was just awesome to see all of our friends and family there, and supporting both of us and just getting to be on the same side of the net as her was awesome. And I just always looked up to her, and filling her role in that high school team was also an awesome opportunity.
You're going to be jersey number 12 this upcoming fall. What's special about 12?
My sister, when she went to Belmont University, changed her number from 24 to number 12. And this year, Coach texted me and said, hey, I know you're supposed to be number 23, but we don't have a 23 jersey. We just have the number 12 left. So I chose number 12, and we'll both be wearing the jersey number 12 this year.
That's great. That's great. All right. I think there's 6 freshmen on the roster this year. What's it been like? You've got a semester on the rest of your class, if you will, but what's it been like getting to know some of the new players?
I think it's actually awesome because I get to know my previous teammates, and then I get to, kind of bond with the freshmen as a freshman. I get to be in their class and just learn all about them and how they'll fit into the team, and just know them as friends as well as teammates.
You've got a semester of class under your belt academically. What are you majoring in? What are you thinking you want to do next?
I'm majoring in education, and I think I want to be a teacher. Not sure what subject yet, but I really like kids, so I want to work with younger kids in teaching.
That's great, Katie. Last thing for you. Your first year getting to play. What are your expectations for the team?
I definitely think we had some work to do, and that preseason was a lot of work, and getting to know Coach Kroger and just working really hard. I think that we can improve on last season a ton, a lot of wins to come, and just things like that.
Well, Katie, looking forward to having you on the court this year. Best of luck. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
It's bow time. This isn't just any chicken sandwich. It's the new Bo's Chicken Sandwich. We took our time perfecting this bold season hand-breaded certified Southern powerhouse. Pile that big league buttered milk crunch with crispy pickles and creamy mayo for a chicken sandwich so good.
Oh, this is so fucking good.
Nana will forget her table manners. Try the new Bo's Chicken Sandwich for $3.99. It's bow time.
Wrapping up our UNA volleyball preview show, Benjamin Ray, Andrew Kroger with you. Coach Kroger, let's talk about the schedule leading up into conference play, a couple of tournaments, some great regional games as well. What are the high points for the non-conference slate?
Yeah, I think there's a good balance of travel, some opponents that are going to really challenge us and prepare us for ASUN conference play. So we start the season heading to Wilmington. right on the beach. Nice place to start the season and kick things off. And then, so we get to travel there, we get to travel to Nashville, we'll travel to Wofford. But in addition to those, we get the chance to play some in-state opponents, and I think it's really a fun thing to do to try to get some bragging rights within the state. So we've got Alabama A&M a couple of times, we've got Auburn on the schedule, and so I think there is a balance of, yes, we want to get into ASUN play, and obviously winning conference championships is going to be the goal. But I also think from a program pride perspective, being able to play some of those local rivals bring some positive publicity to the program, and hopefully, after we get some wins, some bragging rights for UNA.
ASUN-wise, we've seen the last 2 years just how competitive the ASUN is. How have you familiarized yourself with what conference play will be like?
Yeah, I mean, even there's a lot of change for all of the coaches, not just me, right? We've got 3 new ASUN volleyball programs. They have been successful on their own rights. So the ASUN was already a very tough volleyball conference, and it's only getting tougher. And so one of those, again, in-state rivalries that I'm really looking forward to, home and home every year with Jacksonville State. They were at the top of the OVC for the past few years, and they're coming in, and I see that. I'm excited for that to be kind of a measuring stick for us to see both where we're going to be in the ASUN and where we fit kind of locally. So I'm really looking forward to those two. But yeah, there's a whole lot of new teams. I'm kind of playing from behind the 8 ball because there's a lot of coaches who have played everybody else in the conference for the last 3 years, so they know the basics of the systems that they're going to expect from a majority of the schools. They know the best players. They've scouted them for 3 years. And so we're trying to figure that all out new every time. And so there is an extra challenge to that. But I'm really excited to play some new teams, visit some new cities, and kind of experience ASUN volleyball.
Last thing for you, Coach Kroger, as we wrap up this preview show. This season, what excites you most about this roster and this team that UNA fans will see inside of Flowers Hall?
Yeah, the biggest thing that has played out this preseason, what I'm excited about is this is a group of athletes who are really, really excited about getting better, really excited about getting on the court in hopefully a more normal home game experience in front of the city of Florence, and getting out here and playing really hard and putting a team out there that hopefully we're going to win a lot. But either way, we're going to go out there, we're going to fight, and we're going to be something that UNA and the community is going to be proud of, just how we play on the court.
Coach Kroger, we're looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.